Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who is listening to the Pop-Up Show, the Pop-Up Reading Show here on 12Radio. This is something we do kind of on whim, I guess I would say, and I am your host, C.A. Brooks, with my co-host, Katie Weaver. And today we have a special guest from One to Listen, Caroline Nettle, and all three of us will be doing readings today, so I would encourage you to join us over in our private group over on Facebook. Now, if you're new and you haven't ever joined this show, or maybe you've never even listened to 12Radio before, and you're wondering what I'm talking about, well, this is what I'm talking about. We do have a private page, and the way you get there is you go to 12radio.com. That's our website. And when you go there, you look on the left side of the page, you'll see the word chat. When you click on chat, it will redirect you to Facebook where you can ask to join the group. And our producer today is Scott Weaver, and he will be there to let you in. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a blue banner. Thank you very much to Katie for creating that banner. And it says 12 Readings Pop-Up Show. So look for that banner, and that's where you can post comments or you can ask questions. And we do the readings right out of the chat room rather than doing the phone lines. And so if you have a question, you're welcome to post it there. Now, I'm going to go off script a little bit here, but I guess as one of the co-hosts, I can do that. And of course, Katie can reel me in at any point that she feels like it. And by the way, Katie's already here, and Caroline, so if you hear somebody snickering or laughing or coughing or, whatever in the background, shaking their head no, rolling their eyes, that's probably Katie or Caroline. So, but I was just thinking about this morning. There's almost no way to kind of get around what's going on in the world. It's so in our face. And in terms of this reading show, we're doing it to really be supportive, to be comforting to people. But I want to put it out there in my very direct way that as advisors on One to Listen, we do not diagnose. There are a few of us who are actually social workers or we have some medical training, but we do not diagnose. We don't tell you whether or not you've got the coronavirus, whether somebody in your family has the virus or you're going to get the virus, and that goes all the time. That's not just right now. We have a contract with Mark Husson, who is the owner and the developer of One to Listen, that we will not steer into areas that we don't have expertise. So please don't put us in that position of saying, do I have the virus or am I going to get the virus? I mean, you can ask, but we're not likely to tell you. And rather than say, I'm not allowed to tell you, I want to speak for myself here. And that is, I've been an astrologer, a psychic astrologer for more than 30 years. And I can honestly say I almost never, I can't say never, but almost never see that in somebody's chart. I don't see death. I often don't see illness. Now, I may see some what I consider, hey, maybe you should check this out, or I see a challenge going on. But I'm a firm believer that the physical represents the psychological, the emotional, and the spiritual. So, in fact, years ago, I got a reading from a group that was quite enlightening because it was a health reading, but they put it on all those levels. And quite truthfully, they didn't even care so much what the physical symptoms were. They wanted to go right to what is the spiritual issue that you are experiencing. What is that psychological issue? Is it abandonment? Is it feeling not loved? Is it feeling not good enough? They went right to those issues. Then they translated that into emotional issues. And then they finally got to the point of, oh, and by the way, maybe you have a stomach ache. But I thought it was very interesting. Yeah, they were not focusing on physical symptoms because they didn't see the physicality as being the cause. They saw the physicality as being the representation that we can go back to something. Now, quite frankly, I can tell you, I get this. I think I understand that. But if I have an earache, if I've got something going on, do you think I'm not going to reach for the aspirin bottle? Do you think I'm not going to go to the doctor or I'm not going to try to fix this thing? Of course, I'm going to fix it or try to fix it on the physical level. But I know enough to know that if I don't start looking at those other issues, if I don't start looking at that need to be a victim, that need to feel unloved, the need to feel guilty or punished, then you know what? The doctor, yeah, they're going to heal me of whatever's going on, or the aspirin's going to take the headache away, but it's just going to come up in another way. So I know that Caroline, especially, she does a lot of what she considers healing kinds of readings. And I'm going to let her talk about that. But you're not going to probably hear her diagnose you or tell you exactly what's going on. But she might be able to give you an inkling, a hint of a place that you could really think about, or just moving the energy. And in fact, I think Katie probably, I think, in fact, I'm not going to say probably, Katie does that too. You know, a number of our advisors are very good at facilitating healing because they're very good at facilitating or assisting you in either identifying habits or behaviors or thoughts, or actually moving those out of your way. So once again, I'm going to let Katie and Caroline talk about what they do, but I just want to put it out there when you're putting questions in the chat room. Now, you can always say, hey, could you just give me a piece of advice? Could you just give me something general? But if you want something specific, if you have a very specific question, then put it in there, put it in the chat room, and we will try to answer it. Now, for me, I'm an astrologer. So I do like to see a birth date, complete, you know, and truthfully, if you saw me personally, or, you know, when I'm on the line and reading for you in depth, I'm going to ask for the time of day that you were born, and I'm also going to ask for the location. That isn't totally necessary today. And in fact, I do a lot of readings without the astrology at all. So if you want to ask an astrological question, that's fine. But I really would like to focus on Caroline today because she's our special guest. So Katie and Caroline, who'd like to go next in terms of talking? What preamble would you like to put out there? I'm going to throw it to Katie.
Well, you guys know that I am a professional psychic advisor and an animal communicator. A lot of my work is with all of your beloveds, right? Your four-leggeds. I am a medium. I do some health intuitive work-ish. I kind of hate calling it that, but I do. Yeah, I do some of that. And of course, I do tons and tons and tons of energy work. Yep, and moving energy. One thing that's been coming up really strong for me lately is working with people on their scars on their DNA. So scars on your DNA, that is a scientific study called epigenetics. It's something that we see in the spiritual world as well, in the survival, in the challenges, in the things that your ancestors have gone through that could have created a scar on their DNA that you may have inherited. And again, you can study this through the science of epigenetics. It's really fascinating stuff. And the idea behind it, of course, is that when someone experiences a traumatic event, and when I say traumatic event, traumatic to them, right? So traumatic like cataclysmic, or traumatic like they seriously had their feelings hurt. You know, you can't always, necessarily balance that by what you would deem as traumatic. But a traumatic event that may create a scar on their DNA that you could inherit, just like you inherited brown eyes or, blonde hair. And so sometimes when you are working with an issue in energy that something that has been a challenge in your life long term, and nothing seems to have made a difference for you. Maybe you've already done like the past life work, and you've done all of this energetic work, and you've maybe done some therapy. You've done all kinds of things to work on this, and you still feel like you have that issue. Sometimes we consider, well, let's take a deep dive. Let's talk to your ancestors. Let's look at the possibility that you have some kind of a scar on your DNA that requires some attention and some healing. And that's one of the things that I specialize in that has come up really strong lately. I think as people have been going through all of these places of fear and survival type energy, some things have been triggered. So anyway, we might do a little of that today, but I can really take any question along, the energetic mediumship plane, whatever you guys are looking for.
Hey, Katie, thank you very much. And Caroline, do you want to talk for a few minutes about yourself, about, the kinds of readings you do, or any sage piece of advice that you have for us this morning?
Morning, guys, and thanks so much for having me. And I have a little bit of a frog in my throat, so I will try not to keep clearing my throat. But I love what Katie just said. And so I love being on 1-2 Listen. I'm still recent there, and it's still exciting for me. So that's great. So the kind of healing work that I do it slightly different from Katie, but we definitely go into epigenetics and things like that. But how I would see that on a person is like, for example, if you tell me you have a sore shoulder, and I'll be looking at where do you struggle with responsibility or what emotional issue is blocking that shoulder, whatever. And then sometimes I'll see like 4 ladies behind you, and it'd be like, oh, so this was your mother's mother issue. Okay, let's go and see what happened with her that is now blocking your shoulder. And that's just a really strange example. But yeah, I love what I do, because as normally you would go to the doctor and say, here's my symptom or my long list of symptoms, and he would say, great, okay, for this symptom I'll do this, and for this symptom I'll do that. And the way I do it is I take all that information in, and then I kind of park that to one side, and then I just talk to your body, the part of you and all animals and all plants and every human being, even trees, I believe, that says run from the tiger, put some clothes on, go to bed now, eat some food, like that is always trying to keep you healthy. And I ask that wisdom how we are going to get this body-mind complex back to what I call zero, so normal, good health. And so, yes, I listen to a lot of people's symptoms, and then we look inside, and it's 95 to 98% is deep sorrow or real rage or anger, that my dad was a really angry man and I've taken it on, or, so a lot of the work that I do is very much removing the emotions that either you have felt in your life or other people have either projected onto you or you've picked up as a child, or there's so many different connotations. And I just love what I do because I am the nosiest person on the planet. And if I always say this, if I had 10 people in front of me with exactly the same symptoms, I would have 10 completely different stories, because we are, the running sum total of everything we've thought, seen, felt, experienced. And, all of that sort of contributes to the being that you are today. And my job is to take a look at what's in front of me, chat with your inner wisdom, and then help you get back to health and harmony. So I'm very happy to do readings of a health nature on the show, but I do have to say sometimes it can get really personal really, really quickly, and there will be times when I'll say, I'm not going to do that on this medium on radio, because I feel like it would get into an arena that might be a little bit too personal.
Okay, are we there, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like somebody's phone rang. Oh, well, it's all good.
It's all good. Anyway, that's me, and hi, everybody, and look forward to helping you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Caroline. That's awesome. I had failed to mention that I have a class that I wanted to share with you guys. I have a class coming up on Monday. And so on Monday, I am going to be offering over at 12 Academy and via Zoom, so it'll be a video class, I am offering my Rainbow Light Reiki 1 series. So Rainbow Light Reiki is a Reiki that I developed years ago in helping you learn how to use light and color from an energetic place in your home and in your world. And I felt like this would be a really good time to bring Rainbow Light Reiki to the surface, considering that we are, basically stuck at home right now. I was discussing this with my daughter that right now she's very cooped up. She's in Boise. She's working, doing online school. She's feeling really lonely and struggling a lot to, stay home. And the only person, she has her roommate, which is great, but she's feeling quite lonesome. And we were talking about, little projects she has going on at her house right now, things she's doing. And I was thinking, this would be a good time for me to bring this class back to the surface that helps everybody just think about a few more ways that you can use light and energy and continue to work on your space to always create that sanctuary that you need it to be. So the Rainbow Light Reiki class consists of a Zoom meeting. So we'll come together and have class via Zoom, or you can listen on the phone. And this is Reiki 1. There is a Rainbow Light Reiki 2 that I'll teach a little later in May. But probably, well, maybe in April. We'll see what happens. But anyway, this is, you can listen on the phone or you can take it via video, of course. Either way is entirely fine. But I wanted to let you guys know. And I haven't talked about it yet. I just decided this morning to do that. So I'm excited. This will be a fun class. So you can register for it by heading over to 12academy.com. And you'll find it there, or I'm going to put a link here in the chat room for it as well. So, and of course, I will send over, if you can't come live, don't worry, I will send you the manual and the links so that you can listen to it, or so you can watch the video, either way. So there'll be lots of ways to connect with this group. Yeah, did we lose CA?
Yeah, maybe. But by the way, that sounds really exciting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know where she is. So what should we do?
Well, we'll just keep on going, and I'll have Scott see if we can get her back. I'm not sure what happened there, but that's okay. We'll just keep on keeping on, right? Mm-hmm. So, Caroline, I know you guys are pretty well locked down, huh?
We really are, yes. We really, really are. And, for me, who's pretty much a hermit and do all my work online, very little has changed, I have to be honest. But I feel so strongly for those people that are real social animals, and this must be really challenging. So, yeah, my heart goes out to anyone who's really, I'm feeling lonely, but nothing's changed. But I think it's just because everybody else is feeling lonely, and I might be picking up on the energy of everybody else. But they're talking about 6 to 12 months now, which is terrifying.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I don't know what to say. I feel like this entire thing has just flipped the script on, well, the whole world,
Everything, yep. So
how are you spending your time?
So I'm doing all those things that I didn't want to do. I've done my accounts, and I'm doing that I'm setting up this garden. So, this is a big plug for my other project, which is called Wild Nettle Gardens. And I'm setting up a market garden, and I'm going to help people with PTSD, anxiety and depression, because there's a whole thing about getting outside and horticultural therapy. And I myself have just had a diagnosis of PTSD. So the irony of that is just too big for me. But anyway, so I've been doing all my bed plans, which honestly took 5 days, and I hated it, but it's done now. So now I can write the business plan, and, so I'm doing all those big, boring things that I'd sort of shelved because I didn't really want to do. But I'm thrilled to have done them.
Okay, sounds good. You guys, we're going to take a quick break. It looks like CA's power went out, and we're going to take a little break so we can just call her back on her phone because we don't want to miss out. So we'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. I promise we will be right back. You're listening to the 12 Pop-Up Show here on 12 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world. Hey everybody, welcome back to the 12 Pop-Up Show. This is Katie Weaver. I am here, of course, with my co-host, C.A. Brooks, and our very special guest today, Caroline Nettle. We are sorry for the interruption. C.A. had a massive power outage in her neighborhood.
Yeah, I did. It was I shouldn't say it was funny, but I'm sitting here listening to Caroline talking, and there is this huge boom, almost like a car crash. And everything, of course, goes out, and the whole neighborhood is just perfectly silent. So sorry about that, guys. That does limit my participation in the show because I can't run any charts. But I'm here, I'm listening. I can't access Facebook, but I can do some reading. So if something, comes up and somebody kind of wants some intuition on something, I'm here.
Perfect. Well, we are going to tap you all kinds of ways. So good. Well, Caroline and I were just discussing how we've been spending our time. She said that she has been doing lots of things she didn't want to do, which made me laugh. I have not. I have to admit it.
Clutter clearing?
Like writing a business plan and working on her garden. Yeah.
Yep, all good things. In fact, I was telling myself the other day, if you don't get your house completely clean and decluttered during the next, month or two, you have no good excuse.
I saw a meme that said something along the lines of, I used to think that the reason my house never got cleaned was that I didn't have time. As it turns out, that's not true.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. Boy. Yeah. Because I have wasted an enormous amount of time.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My favorite one is God is so fed up with the way that we've been treating the planet that he sent us all to our rooms to think about our behavior. That just made me laugh.
This is true.
That's really good. Well, on that note, I would actually like to throw something out.
Yeah.
And because it's just something I've been thinking about for the last few days. And I do want to couch it by saying I don't want to be insensitive, and I don't want to say, oh my gosh, yes, we need to embrace this virus. But, I think in every single situation, there's something to be learned. Mm-hmm. And when you really think about this virus, this is a life form on the planet. It's sharing the planet with us. And when we look at our automatic response, of course, we don't want to get sick. Of course, we don't want to die. Of course, we don't want our lives to be disrupted. But I think about how it points us in that direction of how easily we fall into the idea of being separated, of being enemies. Because now we've got this big global enemy. And it's not, like I said, that I don't think we should fight it, but, it just really is a huge in-our-face demonstration of how we, in a sense, are not compliance, but that we don't live in synchronicity with our planet or with with life.
Yeah.
And, I don't know that we ever can, because it is true that, although truthfully, in a sense, why does a virus kill people? It needs a host, so it's sort of like you ought to be kinder, virus, because if you keep killing everybody off, you won't have a host. So, there's lots of ways to look at it, but I thought, if we could even just bend our minds around the idea that why do we always have to have an enemy to fight? Why do we have to divide the world into black and white? Why does it have to be we humans and then viruses or bacteria or whatever? It just gave me something to think about, that this is another life form that's fighting for its own survival and existence.
True.
So now you can slap me, everybody.
Not at all. No, I mean, there's so many things to answer about this. It's like, is it really as deadly as it seems? And we don't even know where it came from and where it's going to leave. And, gosh, it's bringing up so many global fears. And I'm finding it fascinating. I do believe that by the time it's over, the new normal will be very different to the old normal. I do believe that.
Yeah.
Well, we will certainly be more vigilant. But so, CA, I really appreciate what you said. I will slap you not. You already have your power out. You've got plenty up against you right now. There will be no slapping. But, however, I resonate with that entirely. And I do love the cooperation we have seen. I love the way so many people globally have rolled up their sleeves and gone to work, whether it was in the effort of quarantining, or those that are working, on the front lines of this in so many different capacities, whether they're working at the grocery store and, working their tails off to make sure that people have food, or they are working, in medical and making sure that people, are receiving the care they need. The global cooperation, and obviously here in the U.S., we have so much political discord that we don't always feel like there is cooperation happening. But you know what? There is. And I think that's really big. I want to stretch this into another facet of what you're talking about with the global energy and what we're bringing to the table. And I, too, am going to get really weird here for a minute, so just try to bear with me. But as you guys know, a couple of weeks ago, Utah had a massive earthquake, like a 5.9, I think.
Yeah.
And did some pretty good damage in Salt Lake City, and they have had a myriad of aftershocks. Like, it's been pretty intense in Utah. Well, yesterday we had one here in Idaho. We had a huge earthquake, and it was really interesting because my daughter called me from Boise, and she said, "Mom, we just had an earthquake. My whole house was shaking. My bed was shaking. I climbed off my bed and walked down the hall, and I was just swaying up and down the hall." She said, "I've never felt an earthquake before, but I think that's what happened." And almost immediately, my daughter yelled from the living room, "Mom, I think we just had an earthquake," because she felt it. And it was just a fraction of a second after they felt it in Boise. So Boise is like 300 miles from where I live, where my daughter's at, right?
Wow.
But, and I went, could we have really both felt the same earthquake? Well, indeed, we did. So it happened in a little tiny place called Stanley, Idaho, which is just way out in the middle of nowhere near a little town called Chalice. But anyway, in the Frank Church Wilderness area. Anyhow, it resonated. It was a 6.3, and then there was a 4.6 aftershock shortly after that literally was felt in all states around us. I immediately saw people on Facebook posting that there was an earthquake at Yellowstone, a 6.3 at Yellowstone. It was not at Yellowstone. It was about 250 miles away from Yellowstone, which maybe is a little too close for comfort, in these times. But, a friend was reaching out last night asking me, why are we having these earthquakes? So I'm going to throw a collective consciousness idea out here. And you guys absolutely do not have to agree with me, but ever. But this is how I see it. I feel like our collective chaos is affecting the way we all hold the collective grid. I think that the chaos that we have created with the virus, the shakeup around the world, has destabilized us in various ways. And I wonder, and not claiming, but wonder, if things like Mother Earth being this unstable is a symptom of all of us being a little unstable. We always talk about staying grounded to the earth, but the earth must be a little grounded to us too. There's some symbiosis here. There must be. And we abuse ours, but from an energetic place, there must be. So is it possible that we're seeing some destabilization of the earth right now because we're so unstable? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Just a thought.
Absolutely. Because Katie, I think we all have different lenses that we look through, but it very much goes along with what I was saying before, that just I think there's multiple levels. When we feel unsure, when we feel confused, when we feel separated, when we feel lonely, whatever it is, we manifest it not only in our own lives, but through a collective consciousness. So what happens is, because here's where my bias is so different than other people's. I think we created the world. I think mass consciousness created the world. And so I think our mass consciousness continues to change and develop and evolve as our consciousness does.
Yeah.
So Caroline, what do you think?
Can I pass? I don't really want to express my opinion in this medium for fear of...
Okay.
But I do. I will say one thing that's safe, and that is, I just think Mother Nature is doing what she does. I would disagree just a little bit and say I don't think we're as important as we think we are, because she's been this active and this scary and very much more active in the past, and she's just doing what she does, which is banging into flakes and stuff like that. And whether or not mankind, this sounds really brutal, but whether or not we're here makes no difference to her, I believe. So that would be at complete odds to CA, and I totally respect CA. But so I would say there's other things happening, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, and I don't want to go too deep into this, or maybe I do, but just to be clear, and this is going to even make it unclear, See, I really believe we're spiritual beings. And
Yes.
so when I say mankind did this, I'm not really talking about us physically. I'm talking about us as souls. And think of it in a way that we're creating a play, or we're creating a playground for ourselves. You know, you might see it that way. We're creating a dream.
No, I agree more with that. Yeah.
Or something like that. So I'm not thinking so much that CA as a personality, or Katie or Caroline, is responsible for any of this. But I think on a level that we can't even understand as personality, our souls has created this huge playground to play in. And we keep changing it, in a sense, for our own amusement and entertainment.
And I do
But I
believe,
don't think it's very funny.
I really do believe, I keep saying this to my friends, my switched on friends, it's like, I'm confident that when we've had our time on this planet, whenever that is, and I'm really happy to still be here, but when my time's done and I go upstairs or wherever you want to say you go, and they tell me, oh, you did this really well, and that wasn't quite so well done, I'm going to go, oh, I get it. I truly believe that, because my thoughts are school is one of the hardest ones, and it's always really challenging to get through all the past life stuff and the karma and all of this. But as long as we, do no harm, I have that real principle in me, and help other people and be part of a good community and all of those good things, then hopefully we do what we have to do. Because I do believe if I don't do my lesson this lifetime, maybe this is something that was told to me when I was really young and it's not true, but I feel like if my lesson this lifetime is not to kill 20 people, and I come down and I go, I'm going to do it anyway, I'm pretty sure I need to come down again to learn that lesson. I don't know if that's true, but that's my thought.
Mm-hmm. I've always felt like there was some truth to that. I've always seen it kind of like this. When you're a kid and you're in school and you have to learn your times tables, right? And your mathematics, and they send you home with these charts that you have to pass off, that your zeros and your ones and your twos, And I kind of think that we have some cosmic times table board,
Yes,
things that we are learning and mastering and hopefully checking off, along the way.
Yeah, no, completely. And my other opinion that I would be happy to have challenged, but I've kind of come to it via a long time of learning. But so we're all just tiny aspects of a great big soul. My soul, your soul. It doesn't matter if we're joint or not. I don't know if that's true, but so my life lesson this lifetime might be just to be a nice person, or to be patient, or to learn to be a good lollipop lady, help kids across the street. Yours might be to change the world, and to, so we're all in this life learning the lesson that we came to do. And because we compare ourselves to other people all the time, which is one of our biggest faults, I think it takes us away from what am I supposed to actually be learning? And if I look back at my past, what happened again and again and again and again until I got it. And once I've got it, okay, that's a lesson, I've learned it. But my lessons could be very, very different from anybody else's. And the sooner I learn not to look at other people's lives and judge them as a comparison to mine, and just say, what is it I'm supposed to be learning? And I think you find that out from either what keeps getting thrown at you again and again, or going within and say, I'm not a very patient person. Maybe that's what I'm being taught to learn. So I don't know how you feel about that, lady.
Yeah.
I like
that.
Well,
I guess on that note, should we do some readings?
I think we should.
Reading.
I'll tell you, I'm loving this conversation, but I was thinking, we tell people we'll do readings, and so I'd like to do some readings.
Most definitely.
It's just to give Caroline that opportunity to strut her stuff.
Yes. All righty. Well, I think I'm going to just kind of start from the top here. What I would love to do, I think, is, can I throw a reading to each of you? And then you can, either one of you can start. And obviously, with any reading that one of you gives, if any of us, have anything we want to add or embellish on, or, go with, please do so. We can tag team all we want. So All right, Caroline. Mary said she would love a message from anyone about anything. A general message.
No.
And I do have her birth date if you would like it. Does that help you? Or?
No, not even slightly, but it might help. Gosh, my brain stopped working. CA. Okay.
Well, I'm going to throw something else to CA. Actually, I'm going to hand you over to Mary.
I'm saying the birth date would. I'm happy to do a reading. I'm just taking.
Oh, sure. Of
course. Yeah, let me just do that. So.
Okay. Before you get started, let me throw one to CA, and then I'll let you run with this. So, CA, I'm going to ask you if you'll read for Elizabeth, and her birth date is 5/24/76, and she's just looking for a general read as well.
Okay.
All
right. So go ahead, Caroline.
So, hey, Mary, thank you for asking for a reading and welcome to the show. So, what I see with you is a little tiny garden gate that's closed, and it's not even a strong gate or one that would be hard to get through, but I'm just feeling some resistance to even going and opening the door. And when I see that, it usually means there's something that needs doing that you're not addressing. And I feel with this quite heavy on my shoulders. So I would say it's probably something to do with responsibility, or there feels to be it's like a thorn in the side is how I'm hearing it. So it's a little bit of an irritant. It feels quite, like you've been thinking about it a bit like I was saying with my business plan. I knew I needed to do it and I just didn't get rid of it. Okay, so that's the first part of the story. But what I'm hearing is if you do walk through this gate, so if you do address this problem and you, walk through the gate, which doesn't look to me like it'll be that hard, I'm really seeing some beautiful pink roses. They're just delicious. And that usually means to me love. So pink roses is very indicative. I can smell them really clearly. It's beautiful. So thank you for that image. But it usually means something to do with a relationship that's not been very comfortable or needs a bit of reinvigorating. So it could be a relationship with yourself. I'm not saying it's not that, but I'm not feeling anybody else with you. So I'm wondering if it's about literally giving yourself roses and really, I'm feeling really strengthening up your self-esteem and your self-love. And I see you taking I just hit the microphone, that wasn't very good. I see you taking a really delicious bath and doing some stuff for yourself so that life becomes a bit easier, and it looks as though you've walked through the gate, so whatever it was that's holding you back is no longer. So I feel like do the thing that you're not doing and then really take good care of yourself. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
I think that is lovely and wonderful advice for Mary.
Great.
Thank you. So, CA, what do you have for Elizabeth?
Okay. Well, first of all, what I want to say to Elizabeth is I don't have any software because I have no power. So I am digging back into my past as an astrologer, and I'm literally using an old reference book that tells me for 100 years where the planets were. So using that, looking at your birthday, you're 5/24/76. So I know that you're a Gemini, and it looks to me like your moon was in Aries. And so I feel like, I know this is a little ways off, but those are the things that kind of struck me. Plus your Saturn, it looks like, is in Cancer. So I want to say you're one of those people who probably has been going through a whole lot of stuff in the last few years in terms of really re-identifying yourself, who you are, what you want your life to look like. And I think in the second half of this year, because Mars is going to be in Aries for 6 months, I think your moon is really going to be triggered. So what that makes me feel like, and I'd love to see in your actual chart where that moon sits, because I think you're going to become very, very passionate about something. My guess is it might even be something from your past. from your childhood. But I think you're going to become very passionate. So if even right now you're thinking about something, like maybe there was something that you wanted to study. Maybe you went to college and then you quit. Or maybe you wanted to study something, you really wanted to get into something, and then you didn't. I think that you're going to spend some time, and I think it could be months. Like I said, I get the feeling that it might be triggered by the Mars retrograde. That Mars retrograde, by the way, doesn't actually happen till September, but it will be in Aries, that sign of your moon, for 6 months. And I have this feeling that what I see, this is what I see psychically for you, like you're becoming an expert at something. And you may already be feeling that, like whatever has been going on for you. And by the way, because I think Saturn, which is the planet of authority, has been challenged, I think you're really, really getting strong in terms of what are my beliefs, what are my feelings. Like, for instance, as you were listening to us kind of spout off about all of our philosophies, you might have had really strong opinions about what we were saying. You might have been resonating with some of that, and you might have been going, she is out to lunch. That is totally wrong. Because what I feel like is happening for you is you're getting really, really strong in your thought process, and I see you literally becoming an expert at something. So that's what I want to throw out there to you. I think this is a time that, you know, many of us are saying, oh, yeah, we're cleaning our houses or clutter clearing. I feel like for you, this is a very mental thing. And I feel like it's getting in touch with something that you are passionate about because you truly want to be an expert. You want to study it, you want to learn it, you want to teach it. You're becoming an expert at something. So that's what's coming through for you, just on a very, like I said, more psychic level. But knowing that you're a Gemini with a moon in Aries, at least that's what it looks like to me without being able to run the exact time. That's what I'm getting for you, is that you are becoming a mental, I want to say giant, but certainly an expert at something. So if you're writing a book, maybe you're writing a book, or maybe you have an idea for a book. Maybe you have an idea for a screenplay or something that you want to write, or maybe you want to do a curriculum. Maybe you want to be a speaker. There is something that is so communication oriented with what I'm getting for you psychically today that I think this has to do with, there again, you becoming a speaker, you becoming a writer, you becoming a messenger with an expert kind of knowledge base behind you. So that's what I've got for you.
That is awesome. I love that. And I see that so much in her as well. CA, you're so good. I knew you'd just land on your feet and run regardless of needing, who needs any damn internet? You're doing great. Such a pro.
I've got to draw up on an alternate power.
That's right. Such a pro. Okay, Sammy had asked for a message. Sammy, I went ahead and took you. So she's just said she'd love a message today. Here's what came up really strongly for me. Sammy, I feel like you are this sage wisdom in your family. I feel like you have a lot of people around you with very differing beliefs, spiritual, emotional, religious beliefs, political beliefs, healing beliefs, so on and so forth. And yet, I feel like throughout your lifetime, you have served as a sounding board, someone who offers advice to people when they need it. Like, there's just all of this light around you. And even though I feel like you've had many people in your life that kind of doubted who you were, when they need you, they come to you. And right now, during the virus and during all the weirdness in the world right now, I feel like that's so very true. It's exhausting sometimes. And I feel like sometimes you're feeling a little beat down and a little discouraged. And so the message I have for you today is about recognizing your role, because your role is to carry light wherever you go. You have been like this since you were a baby. If I could go back and interview your mama right now, she would tell me that when you were little, people were just drawn to you, that you've always been like that. I also feel like she would tell me that you were that kid that would drag home the stray everything and try to take care of it, because that's how you've always been, which is just a beautiful, lovely trait. You were born with such a gift of unconditional love. Right now, there's a part of you that would kind of like to claw some people's eyes out, right? You're kind of sick to death of bad information, of people being so confrontational. You've really had enough, and that's okay. That's okay. It's all right for you to feel like you need to defend yourself and your own, But the message that really comes through strong for you, Sammy, is keep doing what you're doing. You are serving a really important purpose in your community, in your family, in the people around you. Even though sometimes it feels like you are completely different in a world of aliens, you are who you're supposed to be here, and you actually are doing a lovely job of helping to support other people and yourself. So with all of that being said, let's make sure you get plenty of great self-care. You need it. And as always, and I know you've had to do this for a lifetime, keep your skin thick, let a lot roll off. People are scared, people are combative, and yet they're the same people that are going to come to you when their life falls apart and they need help. I know you know that. So on one big hand, I just want to offer you so much love and honor for the person that you are and for the world that you've created, as well as support, because I know that you're offering a lot to the planet right now, collectively, energetically, as well as just what you offer to the people around you. So much love and support to you, Sammy. Okay, guys. Okay. Anything we want to add to that? Are we ready to keep on moving?
I think we're ready to keep on moving.
Okay. So
unless Caroline has something.
Yeah, Caroline needs to work out how to use this microphone.
Oh.
No, I'm already getting a message for Rebecca, so can I move on to her?
Yes, before you do, very quickly, I'm going to throw something over to CA.
Yeah.
So you've got Rebecca. Let's see. Sorry. I think I scrolled a little too fast. There we go. All right. Araceli, CA. Araceli would just love a general read. Her birthday is 11/15 if you want it. If you're going to pull cards, that's cool too. But whatever you choose to do is fine. So go ahead and let's run with it, Caroline.
Okay, thank you. So hi, Rebecca. And yeah, I tuned into you and your stepmother, and I don't know how to say this without saying something not very nice about her, but I think for her it's more about anybody wouldn't, she doesn't, I'm trying really hard to be polite here. So I think she's someone that just nobody would be good enough for her. Bless her. And what I'm hearing for you very much is it's really is about her and not you, and what you need to do. And I think there is definitely a lesson here in this for you is just to be you. And whether or not she accepts you, I'm feeling that confronting her and calling her out and all of those things is going to do no good whatsoever. I just feel this is about you, being comfortable in your own skin, getting on with your business. I mean, I don't know how old you are or, if she's become a stepmother, but I just feel this is about just, if you've got it in you, sending her love, thinking nice thoughts about her. I feel like she's quite wounded, or if not wounded, just very set in her ways. And I feel your energy is quite, wants to be free and happy. And I feel that possibly you could be quite young. So, this is about learning to just keep being who you are, regardless of what's going on around you. And I know that's really tough in a situation where we're talking about a stepmother. But there seems to be, in my opinion, very little that could change in her camp, but your camp can stay really strong. I'd love other people to just tune in and see if I've got that right, because it feels quite strong, but also I feel like I might be reading for someone who's quite young. So can I ask you to see if that's what you got?
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. Yep.
Great. Good. Yeah, I'm always a bit but I prefer not reading for people who are really young, because I just find it really challenging. I'm sure I will get better at it.
No, you're right on with that, I feel like. And yep, it's good advice. Sometimes people just are who they are, huh?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just hope the stepmother isn't listening.
Well, maybe a little self-awareness. No, I'm sure she's not, but I think that's great advice. CA, are you ready to talk to Araceli?
Yes, I am. And one thing, you gave me a birth date, but not a year. And so in this case, all I can really tell for sure is where the sun is, because without the year, I don't know where the other planets are. So what I decided to do is to tune in more psychically, because she is a Scorpio. And so astrologically, I do know that in some ways Scorpios are doing, I would say, pretty well. They're kind of out of the fray, not completely, because Uranus is in their opposite sign. But I think for her in particular, Uranus isn't close enough yet to be really challenging her sun. It'll be a few more years before that happens. But one thing you might notice that is if you feel like your individuality is really being challenged. And as the years go by, like in the next couple of years, you really are going to feel that. You're going to feel this sense of wanting to be unique, but also not wanting to be so different that you're not accepted. But I really feel like that's a conversation for a couple of years from now. But what I'm getting today psychically is I feel like the message for you is this is a time that in some ways I want to say hunker down. But what I mean by hunker down is be smart about your money, your resources, your home, your space. If you're still working, because what it says to me is pay attention to your physical experience. And like, for instance, like all of us, like even right now, I'm sitting here without power. So I'm thinking, okay, what can I do in my life without power? Well, there's a lot of things I can do. And there are many things in our life that even when we feel restricted, when we feel limited, we can still do them. Like, so for you, when I say hunker down, it's more like take care of what you really can do. It's not about what you can't do. It's about what you can do. So if you have family members, if you have something in your life, like even at your home that needs some attention, maybe it needs to be fixed or cleaned or renovated. Maybe there's something, to just be smart about the way you're protecting, but not defending your physical existence. Now, here's one other thing, and it's kind of going both ways for me, but I tuned into this energy that at first I wanted to say, don't be such a smarty pants. And all I was feeling about that is I feel like there's something mental going on where maybe you're trying to defend a belief, you're defending an idea, and either you're not too sure about it or it's just time to move on from that idea. But I also, when I say it's kind of a dual energy, that's what I first thought. It was coming through, like, tell her to not be such a smarty pants. But then I thought, you know what? I wonder if she's really being challenged by somebody else. Like somebody else is telling you that you don't know what you're talking about. Somebody else is trying to be a bully or they're trying to influence your thinking. So part of me wants to say, if that's true, then maybe it is time to kind of stand up for your belief. But don't stand up in such a way that you're a know-it-all. Because, maybe that's part of the thing is that you're feeling a little unbalanced because, like certainly with this coronavirus, the one thing that's amazing to me is how the information changes every day. The truth is the scientists are doing the best job they can, but they're still learning so many things. They call it the novel coronavirus because they don't know exactly how it works. They don't know exactly how it's going to respond to heat or cold or a number of other things. So I feel like that kind of applies to you too. Be open-minded without being a smarty pants, but without letting somebody else, just ride over you. Like right now, me. If I'm saying something and you're going, you know what? That doesn't seem right to me. Don't let me influence your thinking. Don't let me or anybody else convince you that you don't have the ability to figure out what you need to figure out. Don't let that happen to you. And what you can really focus on at this time is what you do know or what you're really excited about. Because I feel like, kind of let go of the need to know everything and rather go on your gut. Like in any given moment, what do you want to do? What do you want to eat? What do you want to feel? What do you want to be doing? Go on your gut, not on your mind. In fact, maybe that's how, the more I talk it through, I think maybe that's part of what it is it's saying, don't be rational about it. Be more just directed. What is your gut telling you in any given moment? And go with your gut. Okay, Katie?
I love that. That sounds awesome.
Is it time for us to take a break? Or?
It is. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be back for another whole hour of reading. So you guys stay with us. If you have a question for us, be sure that you throw it up in the chat room. That's what we're here for. We're reading today. Of course, this is Katie Weaver. I'm here with C.A. Brooks and our special guest today, Caroline Nettle. So hang out, guys. We'll be back shortly. You are listening to the 1-2 Pop-Up Show here on 12Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.
are so happy that you have found 12Radio. If you'd like to join us in the chat room, just head over to 12radio.com, click on the chat button, and just like that, you'll be redirected into our Facebook chat room. It's magic!
Hi, this is Isabel from 12Listen. Whether you listen to 12Radio to learn, to hear messages, to find answers or wisdom, we are so happy to have you. And for any new listeners, welcome. You can find me and other advisors at 12listen.com. Check out our time-based sessions for uninterrupted time to dive in topics you most need understanding and guidance on. And if you'd like to learn about spirituality and any esoteric topics, go to 12academy.com to see what classes are available now. Wishing you an amazing day.
Fur baby, animal companion, pet, best friend, little no matter what you call them, you can't imagine life without them. This is Katie Weaver, and I'm an animal communicator over at 12listen.com. Give me a call whenever you're need a little extra help.
Raise your hand if Saturn, the planet of discipline, structure, and organization, is your favorite cosmic ally. Okay, well, raise your hand if Saturn is at least in the top 3 of your list. Not so much, huh? If serious, sober Saturn leaves you cold, you're not in the minority. However, he's one of my faves. Mark Husson and I kind of have a private joke. When Mark looks at an astrology chart, he almost always starts talking about Jupiter, the planet of luck and benefit and expansion. Me? Saturn almost always grabs my attention. Want to know why? Well, you'll just have to tune into my radio show Simple Tales on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific to hear more about this subject. But here is a spoiler alert. Saturn stays in a sign for about 2.5 years, and guess what? 2020 is his year to make a move. He leaves Capricorn on March 21st and heads into cerebral and forward-thinking Aquarius. But there's almost always a but. Saturn only gets to 1 degree of Aquarius before it starts a lengthy retrograde and returns to Capricorn. We won't really see Saturn in Aquarius for real until December, sort of an early holiday gift, the 3rd week of December. So much to talk about, and I promise it'll be fun. Well, it'll be fun for me anyway, and I hope for you too. This is C.A. Brooks, host of Simple Tales, where astrology rocks on 12Radio. Don't be left out in the cold. Join me Tuesdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, here on 12Radio.
Hi, this is Kay Dragon from 12Listen and 12 Academy. I would like to invite you to join me once a month for my Merlin meditation and channeling sessions on 12 Academy. Each session includes a channeled meditation, and everyone in the class gets a personally channeled message. Please check out the schedule on 12academy.com.
Are you feeling the urge to learn something new? The classes on 12 Academy are just the thing. To expand your mind and make your heart sing. Check out what's available and pick one to try. You take them over the phone so it's easy as pie. The classes are all recorded, so don't worry about timing. Too bad there's not one that teaches rhyming. 12academy.com. Learn something new and have some fun.
Hello, my name is Caroline. I'm an angel intuitive and a health intuitive, and I've been working with people to help them release the issues that are making them ill since 2005. I find that often people are unaware of why they are ill. Since I've been working on 12Listen, I've had clients call and ask me about their health issues, which of course I'm happy to help them with. But if you're interested in removing these blocks, then you are welcome to look at my email-based healing sessions, and this is where the real changes can be made. I'm not a doctor, nor am I qualified to diagnose or discuss your medicines, but I can help to alleviate some of the symptoms by helping your body to recalibrate or realign and work out for itself how to heal. I can work on individuals, on families, on groups of people, on businesses, and on animals. If you're wondering why you are not feeling 100% or you're stuck in a pattern and do not seem to be able to move forward, can I suggest that you take a look at what I'm offering and let's find a way to help you move forward together. Look for Caroline N on 12listen.com, and I very much look forward to working with you and helping you to move forward.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the 1-2 Pop-Up Show. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my co-host, C.A. Brooks, and we're welcoming our special guest today, Caroline Nettle. It is the 1st of April if you're listening to us live. This is the second half of our show. No joke, though. It's not April Fool's. We're here. We're doing readings for the next hour. So if you'd like a reading from one of us, head over to 12radio.com. Click on the chat button and you'll be redirected into the Facebook chat, and you'll see our banner at the top of the page. If you have not joined this group before, you will want to ask for entry, but then you can come in and chat with us and ask a question, and hopefully we will get to it. Now, I just wanted to remind you that you can pretty much ask a question about anything you're thinking about today, considering the cast of characters we have reading for us today. I think we can cover just about anything. But Caroline's specialty is health work, and so any health questions that you have for her today would be great to bring to the table. So what do you say, ladies? Do we jump right back in?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a question from, let's see. Well, somebody should have gotten to the right place on Facebook. Sorry, you guys. Okay. I'm going to take a question here from Alishaya. She's got a challenge going on here with her family situation. So she says, and actually it was her birthday. Oh, okay. It was her birthday last month. Okay. So here's her dilemma. She said her mother is 92 and her very handicapped sister live in New York City. She said they're having a very difficult time getting around and being able to buy essentials right now. Unfortunately, there's a lot of drama here in the family. She said, I live with my daughter. She first invited them both to stay here with us. Now she says only one can come. I am in the middle. Do you feel it would be okay for them to come or not? Should I go there? I just don't know what's best for me to do. I do take care of my grandson here, but again, my mother is 92. And so in looking at this, Shaya, I just really don't want to see you in New York City. That doesn't resonate with me at all right now, and I suspect it doesn't resonate with you either. I do feel like they both need to come to you guys short term. I wonder if it would make your daughter feel better if there was kind of an agreement about, they're coming for 6 weeks, knowing that at some point here things are going to improve and then they can go back home, that we just kind of set the bar right now with a certain timetable. It would be impossible for one of them to come without the other. They rely heavily on each other. That's just a no-go. I also feel like she really doesn't want to see you leave because she does need your help. And so I know it's a challenge for everybody. I understand the level of drama here. I do. And yet I agree with you that there needs to be a way to get everybody under the same tent right now. And so that's what I'm feeling, though, is that your daughter just really needs to not see this turn into forever. You guys, I know, are in fairly close quarters as it is, and that's a challenge. And adding to that, I think it sounds extremely daunting to her. So that's my recommendation, is that we really look at setting a real timetable of how long they would actually be here and what the plan would be to get them back home when conditions get a little better. That resonates very much more with me than you moving to NYC with them. That, to me, doesn't resonate very well at all. And I feel like it would really shake up your daughter's household because you are a very key element of, helping take care of the kids there. So that's how it reads for me. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Sure. This is CA, and I was going to say I have a very strong sense that Am I echoing?
You are.
Okay, I'm going to see what I can do. Is it better?
Yes.
Okay, good. I could just all of a sudden hear that feedback coming. And I'm sorry, guys. I am on a cell phone because I lost my power. All right. The sense that I got really strongly was that you all need to be together. And I also felt like there was travel involved. And so I couldn't, I wasn't getting a real strong sense who should travel to who, but I think you should all be together. But the other thing I want to ask, and I don't know where this is coming in, I'm getting the sense of either everybody pooling their money together, or there is somebody with money, somebody with resources, somebody with something that could be helpful in this situation. And so I want to kind of throw that out because maybe it's an organization, maybe it's a church, maybe it's some, philanthropic organization. I feel like there's some money involved somewhere that somebody with power or organizational skills can actually provide some resources or transportation or something. So I've set the intention that you're all going to be together and that somehow you're going to figure out how this can work. So that's all I'm going to add to what Katie said.
I love that. CA. I feel like there's some very good wisdom there and truth to that. So good. Alishaya, we will hold space for you that this works out in a way that's really powerful for your family for sure. Okay, moving forward.
Could I take Belle?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So I'll read her question and then you run with it. So Belle says, I would really, and actually, before I say that, after that, CA, will you take Terry? She said she would be honored to have a reading today. Her birthday is 5/5/58. 5/5/58. Okay, so Belle said, yes. So Belle said, I would really love to know if any of y'all pick up on a message I'm supposed to get. I just feel crazy. I know there is something/someone trying to reach me, but I don't know how to get unstuck and hear them. All right. So that was Belle's question. So yeah, let's run with it. Caroline.
Yeah, so hi, St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. How exciting. So hi from the UK. So what I'm feeling is just please stop trying so hard. Trying is the wrong energy to be able to receive this message. And I am getting a little bit about the message, but they want me to talk about this feeling. And I really feel like I want to ask you to just switch off. Just stop running around. I don't know if you're in lockdown like we are, but in the home arena it is quite a lot easier to relax. But I'm just feeling that you're possibly a type A, someone who pushes really hard and who succeeds a lot, and I'm just feeling this is a really good opportunity for you to relax. The message I'm feeling is from a male. I don't feel it's romantic at all, but I do feel it's someone who's going to come in and help you. I'm not hearing the message, but I'm seeing a kind of middle-aged man who is like, I'm just feeling deeply knowledgeable and very relaxed in his wisdom. I'd even call him a sage. And I feel that he has something to teach you, but your two energies are so conflicting at the moment. He's really calm and you're quite wired, I'm getting. So your job right now, the message from the angels is just to relax, meditate, do whatever you need to do to just bring down the energy levels, because I'm just feeling really quite frazzled with you. And then you'll be on a par where you can meet with him and you can get your message. I really hope that helps. Anything you can do, like walking in nature, if you're allowed out, we're not, which is ridiculous. Meditating, breathing exercises. There's all sorts of things that you can do to just relax. But yeah, I do absolutely have empathy with you. I spent 10 years going, what am I supposed to do? And being really frustrated. And it wasn't until, and I'll just share this with you because it worked for me, it may not work for you, 2 whole days, no TV, no internet, no friends calling, curtains shut, just literally sitting there waiting for the answer. It killed me, but I got what I needed, so I'll give that to you in the hopes that that helps you too. All right, well, lots of love to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's a hard feeling, and I think we've all experienced it in some degree to some degree here in this on this path. So Great advice, Caroline. All right. So, CA, what do you want to bring to Terry?
Okay, and I would remind you, Terry, I think you have been in the chat room the entire time, because I think I posed the question when I first, logged on before I lost my power. But still, I'm not going off your actual chart. I am going off of knowing where the planets were on the day that you were born. So thank you for posting that in the chat room. So what I'm getting for you is that, number one, you're a Taurus, and in some ways, Taurus have been doing pretty well because they've got all that support of the Capricorn planets. However, you also have Uranus, the planet of individuality and revolution, approaching your sun. Now, just like I told somebody else earlier, it's going to be a while. Uranus moves very slowly, so it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next year even. That Uranus is sitting really close to your sun, but it's coming. But what is coming right now that I'm feeling pretty strongly is your Jupiter is sitting in Libra, and it is really being challenged by all those Capricorn planets, which automatically what I was feeling is that you're feeling or you're thinking, wow, the way I usually expand myself, the way I find meaning in my life, the things that I think are true, the things I think are untrue, all of a sudden your world is turning upside down. I also looked at your Mercury, which is the way you think. And guess what? Sitting in Aries, it's being challenged and turned upside down. And I think you'll find this funny, maybe you won't, but as a tarot reader, I grab a deck of cards and I start shuffling them, and then cards will appear either as right side up or upside down. Well, I grabbed the cards because I said, I want to pull a card for her, or maybe 3 cards for her, because that's a typical thing for me. Well, all of a sudden, the cards start just falling out of the deck, but they're all coming out sideways. Now, that very rarely happens to me, but it's a very strong, energetic thing that happens that I go, oh, yeah, this person, their world is going every which way. And on one hand, I say that not to scare you, but to say, you know what, that's what you're going through. You are going through a time that I consider incredible and fascinating because your belief systems are being challenged left and right. I consider that a very positive thing. I really, truly do, because it's the opportunity to let go of the past, an opportunity to let go of pain, to heal yourself from psychological, emotional regrets and pains and things that have come up for you. It's the opportunity, and what you need to do right now really is, in a sense, take a mental break. Instead of trying to control that process, go with that process, because I think what we're going to see happen for you, I think literally the foundation of your world, the foundation, the structure, the way you live your life is totally being changed. And you are going to be walking away from some significant things in your life. Not because they're bad, but simply because you're saying, you know what? I know there's something else out there for me. I've been there, done that. I've been here. I know what this is about. And now I'm being called to something else. But that being called, part of what happens, whether your angels or messages or guides, however you want to see it, they're starting to, maybe not just starting, but they're challenging you. Slowly but surely, they're challenging you. And I think those challenges are going to increase. Now, if you see that as an incredible opportunity, then it is going to be incredible. It's going to be wonderful, because you're going to end up someplace else and you're going to recognize your strength. You're going to really see what the assets are in your life and what you came here to contribute. So I think it's going to be wonderful. I truly do. I mean, I'm excited for you. I hope you can hear that in my voice. But that being said, you're not sitting in the same place you were sitting before. The guides are telling you, get up, investigate, look at this, go with the flow. Don't assume that life stays the same, because you're in lots of transition, and that transition includes changing some ideas, some basic ideas about the way that you think life works or about who you think you are. And that doesn't have to be scary. That can be incredibly exciting for you. So that's what I've got to say, Terry. Thank you very much for playing with us today.
That is awesome. And just from, you and I both knowing, all of us interacting with Terry in the chat room and whatnot, we all adore her. And so I absolutely love this reading. I'm excited for her. This is the kind of stuff I like to hear. We actually have another Terry with a question, and I want to throw this one to Caroline. Terry says, I would love to have a reading. I've been feeling mostly healthy for 57 years and then went downhill end of December, fell down to heart palpitations. So trying to know what I can do to heal everything. So Caroline, what do you think about all of that?
Sorry, I was just reading the feedback from the last reading. It was gorgeous. Okay, hi Terry. And oh gosh, that must have been a big shock if you've been, is that me echoing? No. Mostly healthy for 57 years with heart palpitations. Okay, so I'm feeling heartbreak. The fall was to make you stop running, I'm hearing. So that's interesting. Not that you were physically running probably, but moving through life too fast. But I'm hearing heartbreak. And when I ask, is it Terry's? I'm hearing no. So is it a past life thing? Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I hope it's okay to go into past lives, but what I'm really picking up for you, Terry, is that at the exact time you fell down in this lifetime, in another, I'm getting goosebumps, in another lifetime, your absolute full-on, full-blown love of your life had been with you for a large amount of time, and he suddenly left to be with a younger version. And it's really weird because what I'm seeing is the Roman Empire. Like I'm seeing people in the tunics and everything. So I'm feeling as though the heartbreak that happened, sometimes it really does happen. So on the day that you fall over here, that's when it happened in a past life, or you maybe transitioned in a past life or something. But I'm really feeling this heartbreak is still energetically impacting the palpitations in your heart. So I know that sounds a bit weird, but whatever happened in that last past life is affecting the way your heart is beating. So what we could do, if you're interested in having a session with me, just go to my email-based services. My name's Caroline N. And we could erase the energy of that past life, because I really feel this is nothing to do with you. It's really strange because I really don't get any heart problems before this time, and then I feel a real like deep sorrow with that. So that's what I'm getting. It also feels as though there was heartbreak around you as a child. So I'm not saying your heartbreak, but maybe an aunt, an uncle, somebody losing a child somewhere, I'm feeling. Or there's something about heartbreak which was around you, and you really, the way I'm feeling is that you really swam in the energy. So it was really close to you, and that has also been carried to here. I really hope that makes sense. More than happy to discuss it with you if you want to get in touch with me or whatever. But that's what I'm picking up. What about you, ladies?
CA? I feel like we both took a big breath at the same time.
I am here. And I thought what Caroline said was really wonderful, so I really didn't want to add to it. There just wasn't anything I felt like that was significant for me to add.
I will agree with that completely. That's how I felt as well. So very good. Okay, well, we will move forward. So there's a question from Karen that I'm going to grab. Karen said, I would love a message. I've been working on putting my ex in the past. I recently did some cord cuttings, binding them from reattaching. Have any new ones or old ones reattached? I wanted to take a look at it here, and just taking a peek at you, Karen. The only cord that I feel like has come back is right at your throat, actually. So not so much like a relationship cord, but more, it feels a little more controlling of your voice, which also would be controlling of your decisions. What I would like to do is two things. I want to pull that cord, obviously, and return it to him. But I would also really like to just do a quick Merkaba clearing and just really clear your whole energy body and set you free from this whole experience. I feel like you could really use a breather from his energy. It feels extremely chaotic. So let's pull that cord out of your throat first. I'm going to do that right now. We'll just heal that with love and return it to him. That's a portion of his energy body after all. We don't want it. So I'm going to heal that up in your throat here with a lot of good light and balance your throat because, again, that cord in your throat, I don't like that. That is basically a little attack on, your voice, on your decisions. So we want to strengthen your voice back up because you're right on right here and where you're at. And then I'm going to start at your feet. And I'm going to command a Merkaba clearing, commanding billions of many points of light to flood your system now, completely healing, clearing, and releasing any and all residual energy from this relationship, from this person, and from anyone associated, to this person. Commanding these energies to be healed and cleared and rendered neutral and inert in all directions of time now, through every cell of your physical body, every layer of your emotional body, and every fiber of your spirit body now. And I'm just going to watch that move all the way through you. So Merkabas are a shape that are used in sacred geometry. Basically, they are many points of light. They're stars. So I'm just moving those all the way through you. And again, moving in this, moving in this way to clear you mind, body, and spirit, right? Through your physical body, your emotional body, and your spirit body. So we can just release any last residue from him. So I'm just watching that move all the way through you. And there were little things, but no more big things. That big cord in your throat was the last mama jama. So that's good. Okay. All right. And now I'm just going to wrap you up in a big, thick blanket of pink light. What I would like to do is allow that to hold you in the frequency that you're comfortable in without being tugged at by him or by the world, right? Let's just help you hold your frequency where you would like to be, which is actually really high vibrating and a place that feels very much like childlike joy to me when you're free to feel it. So, okay, very good. So that's what I have for you, Karen. That feels much, much better. All righty. So moving forward then, Caroline.
Okay, and can I add one thing, Katie?
Yes.
This is CA. Sure. I just wanted to say, because I just got this real strong kind of gut reaction to that question, and I don't know if this helps or not, but it may really help. And that is, just bottom line, I don't think the two of you belong together. You may have had something in the past, and there was there's always a reason that you're together, but I almost feel like this court thing has to do with you haven't completely let go of the idea that you just don't belong together. And that's what it feels like to me. This is a person that, if you try to force any kind of reunion, if you keep trying to force this person into your life, it's just going to kind of be continual disappointment and fights. And maybe if you could just kind of come to this place and bless him and let him go and just go, you know what, I don't have any doubt. We do not belong together. We've done whatever we needed to do. Maybe that would help you just like go with Katie's thing of just dissolving those cords.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's what I just got this real strong sense. They do not belong together. Just let that go.
I
don't have
agree
any doubts.
Entirely.
Don't go back.
Yeah. No, very, very good points. Okay. All right. So going back to the chat here. Let's see. I've got a bit of an echo. Hopefully that might just be us. That might just be Skype actually. So I'm not too worried. Okay. Here we go. Rebecca said, oh no, sorry, Rebecca. I already got you. Okay. This is Anna. So Anna, I'm going to throw this question to you, Caroline. Anna said,
I'm lost.
No, not Anna. I'm so sorry. I wanted to give you Sheila, and I have lost it. Oh, there it is. Sheila said, may I have a message about creativity and or health, please? Before you start, I'm actually going to throw Anna over to UCA when she's done. So I'll read you that question now so that you can take a peek. And Anna's birthday is 4/16/1980. And she says, what about love? Any insight about meeting my true love, which was on track for this year? So much has left my life in the last 2 years, and I'm ready for the new beginnings of my happily ever after. So that's what Anna says. So, but let's go ahead. We'll flip the script back to Caroline if you would like to address Sheila, please.
I would love to, and I would just like to say, and I would like some of that too. I had Sheila, and it's disappeared. Could you possibly just read it for me again? Sorry.
Sure. So Sheila said, may I have a message about creativity and or health, please?
Okay, definitely. Hello, Sheila. So when I breathed in, I had a little bit of a funny sensation in my lungs. Not that I'm saying that there's anything wrong with your lungs, but that's the way I get. So when we breathe in all that is good, joy and hope and abundance and love and all of those good things. And when we breathe out everything that we don't need anymore. So, sadness and used up energy and carbon dioxide and all of that. So I am just feeling with you that your exhaling is stronger than your inhaling. What I mean by that is you're not really allowing into your body and into yourself all the good things that the universe is offering. So that, I think, is the problem with your creativity. I feel that your body is under-oxygenated. If that's a word, I think I've just made a new word. So what I suggest you do, and what's always good for absolutely everybody, is to do breathing exercises. And by that, I mean the really strong yogic breathing. I just watched a video by a guy called Wim Hof, W-I-M, and then H-O-F. He talks about exactly this, getting really good oxygen into your body. So that, I think, would open you up for lots more creativity. What I've just said applies to 90% of the human race, so please don't feel that you've got a problem, but just that's what came to me when we were talking about your health. The other thing I'm feeling is a little bit hunched over. So if you spend a lot of time on computers, I would also I really want to pull your shoulders back. And what I mean by that is open up your lungs again. So this is about your lungs again. So really having you striding forward and taking really deep breaths of fantastic mountain air or sea air or something like that. Because with this oxygen in your body, extra oxygen, which I'm feeling is lacking, which again makes you like 90% of the human race, so don't worry about that too much. But I think the free flow of creativity and passion and great things like that is kind of, like I said, hunched over a little bit. So we women, if we want to get in touch with our creativity, it really is in the womb. And often one of the things I tell my clients who are perhaps not in touch with their body as much as they could be, just lie on your bed with your hands on your womb and just sort of massage your womb and tell it, your womb, literally have a conversation with your womb and tell it you want to be more creative. You want to open up to creativity. And as I'm doing that, so I'm rubbing my womb as I'm saying this, imagining it was you, I'm just seeing color, like really vibrant colors. So I think with a little bit more oxygen and a little bit of a conversation with your womb, great color can come into your life. I don't know what color means, but maybe you're an artist or you paint with words. I don't know what it is you're wanting to create, but I'm definitely getting color. So I don't think there's anything drastically wrong with your health. I think a lot of sticking your shoulders back, being outside in nature, taking regular exercise, things like that would really help your mental health as well as your physical health and really bring in creativity. So that's what I have to say. Anyone else?
I feel like that sounds great. Good marching orders moving forward. Awesome. CA, do you have anything to add, or are you ready to move on here to Anna?
I am ready to move on to Anna.
Okay, let's go.
All right. And so once again, Anna, just in case you didn't hear it before, I'm not actually looking at your chart, but I did look at the planets for the day that you were born. And so I am using that as well as just intuition to get some information for you. And I think I have some good information. One is, don't be too impatient, especially when it comes to love. Because when I look at your chart and I see your sun is in Aries, and I also see your Mercury is in Aries, and your Venus is in Gemini. All of those triggered me when I saw that in your particular chart. The reason is because Aries, you are one of those people, and I know I keep coming back to those Capricorn planets, but you have Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter and Mars literally challenging your sun, your ego. who you believe you are. So here's what I'm really thinking. I think in the past, I'm not saying once again that you shouldn't have been with people that you were with, but I think you're closing a chapter. I mean, I think you are making a huge transition in terms of the way that you see love, the way you see yourself. And so it's almost like somebody who's going through a huge transition that and this is true. I think sometimes when people get married at 18, now, not everybody, but a lot of people, they're so different by the time they're 26. They look back and they go, what was I thinking, right? Because they're such a different person. Well, astrologically speaking, you are going through a huge transition of who you believe that you are. So the next person that you're going to be with is going to literally be miles apart, worlds apart from anybody that you've been with before. And I think it's somebody that you're going to have a very strong spiritual, psychic connection with. So I want you to pay attention to that, because I think you're going to be drawn to this person almost for reasons that you think are, oh my gosh, I would have never thought about this. Because here's one other thing. I think there's a very strong possibility that this person is also very different from you, like might be from a different culture, might be from a different country in the world. This person is somehow miles different than anybody that you have been with before. But here's why the Venus really grabbed my attention. You've got Venus in Gemini. Well, did you know that Venus is going to actually retrograde this year, which means from our perspective on Earth, it looks like it's going backwards. It's going to retrograde in Gemini. And so everybody in the world is going to have the opportunity in April, actually through July. But the retrograde, by the way, is only May through June. But we're all going to have the opportunity to look at our values, to look at what we love, why we love it, what we think is valuable, what we think is important, what does love look like in our lives. We're looking for more connection because it's Gemini. There again, with you need somebody who's smart. You need somebody who's articulate, somebody who is willing to express their mind, because your Venus is sitting in Gemini, the sign of communication. But because it's going retrograde this summer, that's why I say don't be in such a hurry. Because when you get out, by the time you reach July, I think even if you don't agree with me today, I think you're going to agree with me then that all of a sudden your whole concept of what's attractive in a person changes. It's all of a sudden you go, hey, I really needed this. I really needed to see how this works. And quite frankly, I think it's very exciting because all of us are going to go through the Venus retrograde. But people like you, Anna, that actually have Venus in Gemini, oh my gosh, that is an incredibly special opportunity. It truly is. And I think you are walking away from the patterns of love that you had before, and you're walking towards new opportunities. I think you are going to have new opportunities. And like I said, the person that you're going to be with, I think he's going to be smart. He's going to be intelligent. This is a person that's going to be, you guys are going to be on the same page. Or maybe not. I can also see that you guys might argue a lot. You might debate things a lot because you love talking. You love connecting. But I think there's going to be lots of opportunities for you. So please be patient. Just be patient and see what comes up for you, because there's a world of opportunities for you coming when it comes to love. Okay, that's what I've got.
I love it. Love it, love. I love Anna, and I love that you gave her that gorgeous reading. That was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. Okay, good. I don't have anything to add except for that was beautiful. Caroline, do you have anything you want to add to that before we keep moving?
No, I'm happy to move on.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so Kay is next. I'm going to grab Kay. So Kay says, my first sweetheart found me after 45 years and now wants me to live with him in another state. I can't face moving and leaving my family here. Any thoughts? Kay, I don't see you leaving your family either. I got to tell you, I have some hesitation about him. There is love here, and there was love here, and there's still love here. I've got all of that, and I hear it fully. He has some trauma, in his life that I feel like that there's some things about who he is now that I don't know that you are completely clear on yet, that may make him a very challenging human to live with. I feel like at this point, and now, of course, this is probably a no-go right now, considering that we're all quarantined, but moving forward, I would highly recommend that the two of you travel together, that you spend some good time, living amongst him, on vacation or like with him for a weekend or him coming to you and whatnot, quite a bit before you uproot your life. Because I like I said, I have a bit of a hesitation here because he's got some challenges, some emotional challenges that I think that maybe haven't become quite clear yet in his world. And it doesn't, that sounds like a horrible judgment. And I'm sorry, I don't mean it to be, but you're my client, right? I mean, I'm reading for you. And so your best interest is what I'm most interested in. And so because of that, I will say that I feel like there are some red flags here that you need to be very, very aware of. So with all of that being said, move slow. Let's just move really slow. You waited 45 years for him to come back. He's not really going anywhere. You've got all the time in the world to let this be absolutely the right thing before you ever change your world. Does anybody else want to add to that before we keep going?
No, I felt exactly the same as you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Yeah, and Katie, I would say the same thing. And because truthfully, I had cards in my hand, and as soon as you read the question, the moon literally flipped out of the deck. Now, personally, I like the moon card, but the moon card always says something is hidden. That, the timing isn't right. There's information you don't know. Because, like, for instance, I say, like, Katie, if you had and Caroline, and, if you had a flat tire and you wanted to change it, would you change it in sunlight or moonlight?
Right, in sunlight.
Well, I think, in sunlight.
Yeah.
And so moonlight isn't a negative thing because moonlight, in fact, my indication, what I'm feeling is he probably really does love her or think he loves her, I should say. And I'm not saying that he doesn't, but I think there is something emotional going on, especially with the moon card. Something emotional is going on that's blocking the clear picture of what's happening. And just like doing something in moonlight, it can be very sexy, it can be very romantic, it can be very intuitive. But if you're trying to make a decision, I don't like to make a decision under the influence of the moon, knowing that eventually something else is going to come to light. I want to see what's going to come to light before I make a rational decision. So I think that's true, too. I mean, I'm not doubting him, but I just think there's something that you don't know about this situation that will come to light that you at least need to consider before you make a big decision. So that's it.
I love that. Thank you, CA. That is true wisdom. Awesome. Okay, so moving on to, I'm going to give a question to Caroline from Katie, and then I'm going to throw Jane over to CA. So I'm going to read them both first, and then I'll turn Caroline loose. Katie, she originally asked for a general reading, but then also asked perhaps Caroline could address why she holds all of her emotions in her lower back. So Caroline, I'm going to ask you to grab that one. But beforehand, CA, I'm going to read Jane's question so that you can take a peek. She said she wanted to know, okay, so her birthday is 10/5/61. And Jane, I know you joined late and didn't know that CA didn't have charts today because her power went out. So she's just doing awesome today without all of her charts, but it's all good. Anyway, so, however, what her question was, CA, she's driving cross country with her cat. Wondered if there's anything showing up for you that would be a warning or anything that she needs to know. So I'll go ahead and jump back to Katie then and turn that one over to Caroline. So talking about all those emotions in her lower back.
Hi, Katie, and thank you for asking my favorite question. You get the gold star here because I love answering this. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of a lecture, and I'll keep it as short as possible. So what we should do is let's say I'm angry with Katie, which I am not, as in Katie Weaver, the show host. I would say to her, Katie, what you said just now really irritated me. No, that's not true. She hasn't irritated me. But that's me expressing the right emotion to the right person at the right time, because it happens in the present. But what we do instead is I'd ring up CA and go, oh, that Katie, she did this and she did that. So we share the emotion with the wrong people, or we just suppress it. So an emotion needs to be go onto your diaphragm, and a diaphragm in the body is the filing cabinet of the body. So if I have an inherited weakness, I do, mine is my right kneecap, and I already have a problem in an area, what will happen is the emotions come to the diaphragm. Like if it's anger, let's say, because I'm angry at Katie because she said something that offended me. So that should go to the liver, because anger resides in the liver. But the liver is the most busy organ in the body, and maybe we had some red wine and a bit of cheese and some beef last night or whatever we did, so it's really struggling to get through processing everything. So it says, no, I'm not going to take that anger, and it puts it back to the diaphragm. So the diaphragm needs to find somewhere to put this rogue emotion. So in my case, all my family trauma went into my right knee. Thank you, Dad. That's from my father. Anyway, so what happens is we have a weakness, and then the diaphragm just keeps filing, because that's its job, and putting, excess emotions, or let's say you're no good at grief and the lungs are really full up, then the extra grief will go to a certain spot in the body. So why you are having most of your emotional expression, if you like, in your back is probably because you had a weakness there, or you have a weakness there. But also the lower back is all about how I feel about the way I'm supported by money, by the universe, the way my financial situation is. So it's all about money and money worries. So there's probably a little bit of both in that, but I would suggest that people who have lower back issues, it could be that you sit badly, it could be that you've had an accident when you're young. Very often people come out of the womb and it gives them hip dislocations and things like that, which we find later in life because the body is compensated. But in your case, what I'm getting is that there was something happened in early childhood that programmed you to worry about money. That's what I'm feeling with you. And so you do worry about money. And also I would say you have quite a lot of weakness in that area anyway. Not because you're unfit or unhealthy, just because that happens to be a weak spot in your body. So I'm happy to help with all of that. That's exactly what I love to do, is to take away the weaknesses, take away the emotional fears and the worries. So I hope that all makes sense. And yet, please do take a look on 12listen.com under email-based readings. And just to say, a little bit of a plug, I've reduced my prices for this ridiculous pandemic that's going on. Everybody's in fear. So I wanted to make the prices a bit more available to everyone. So they will stay reduced until such time as things get back to, in inverted commas, normal. All right. I really hope that helps, Katie.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so moving forward, CA, let's see.
We were going to do Jane.
Thank you. I have completely lost my I've lost my mind. So thank you for saying that. Go ahead. Let's go.
Okay. And I'll tell you what, when I heard this question, and I'm sorry I don't have access to Facebook because I think that would kind of trigger my memory a little bit more. This sounds like a really familiar question. So I'm wondering if Jane has already driven cross country with her cat and is now going back somewhere, or whether this is just deja vu. But in any case, Jane, my first thought was, well, if I had your actual chart, I'd feel a little more comfortable answering the question. But looking at the planets, I know that you're going to a Jupiter return. So that makes me feel like that in some ways you're under a blessing of certain sort. But on the other hand, you've got some issues with Saturn. And so what that made me think is she's not feeling totally confident. You know, it's almost like maybe you're having a hard time trusting your own judgment about some things with going cross country. And I don't know, I don't have cats, so I'm not quite sure what it would be like being in a car for days on end with a cat. But my first thought is there any possibility somebody can go with you? Because the first thing I thought is, boy, I bet you she'd have more fun and have a better adventure if she actually had a friend along with her. But on the other hand, I have a feeling that really isn't an option. So that being true, if that really isn't an option for you, the one thing I would say is, cross your T's and dot your I's, so to speak. Know what you're doing. But the other thing is relax and try to make it an adventure, because there is a part of me that thinks there's a little bit of adventure going on with this trip. And that means that things might happen that you're not expecting, and that you got to roll with the punches. And another thing is, I feel like, especially if it's a cross-country trip, I'm assuming that you're stopping and resting. And that is coming through really strongly for me too. Don't push it. Make sure that you've got stops, that you're staying in a hotel or motel or whatever, that you've arranged for some places, because it's very important for you to not just get totally into your head and just totally wear yourself out on this trip. But I think overall, I think it's going to be an adventure, and I think it could be really fun. So maybe that's kind of a stretch to say it would be fun, but I want you to remember that your perception of what happens is up to you. It's not about the circumstances. So you can make this trip a real adventure, a real learning experience, or really enjoy the process, maybe because you're listening to books on tape, maybe you're listening to your favorite music, whatever it is. I feel like you can make it a fun adventure. So, make sure you get enough rest, make sure you're taking care of yourself, but I think it's going to be okay. And I think it could be a fun adventure. So, Katie, that's what I've got.
Awesome. I love it. We're going to run out of time, but I really want to make sure we get this last question in from Denise. And so I'm going to lob this one over to Caroline. Denise said that she would love a look at her ankle. She's had a broken ankle that's healing, and just wondering if you have any messages for her, Caroline, about the continued healing of that ankle.
Of course. Yeah. So firstly, I want to say ankles are usually about fixed or rigid belief systems. So take a look at where you think it always should be like this, or it's right or wrong, or black or white, or there's only one way, and see if it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, or, so start looking at where you've got really, really fixed belief systems. For everybody, the elbow is the same, and the wrist. So, yeah, so that's in general. So looking more at you, I'm looking at tendons and ligaments is what I'm seeing. So I think the bone is doing quite well. Like, it's not mended, but it's mending. But my feeling is for the tendons and the ligaments getting reattached in the right way and in the right sequence. And again, this is something I could maybe look at working with you with. I'm just feeling like they're slightly out of order, and that will mean that, yeah, you may have a few issues in the future going forward with mobility and flexibility. I'm not sure I'm definitely right, but that's my inkling. What about you, Katie? What do you get?
I like that a lot. I feel like you're right on target with it. And I agree that we're going to continue to see her heal as she, keeps moving forward. And it's just taken a long freaking time, Denise, I know. And I feel like you've kind of gone, why, and yet it is healing, and I think you're going to continue to experience that. So, but I agree, Caroline, there's little adjustments here that can happen, and I think too, just following through with physical therapy, with keeping going, with your doctor's recommendations to help it to continue to heal are going to be really, really important. All right. Well, you know what, you guys, we have done it. And so I want to make sure everyone knows where to find you guys. Before that, I just want to let all of you know what's coming up. There's 3 more awesome shows coming up today. So following this show is The Long Road with Kai Greenway, and her guest today is Kathy Wesselman. They are doing the recipes show for the month. And if you guys ever have listened to that show, you know how much fun it is and that you do want to be here for that. They are a great combo. Following that show, we do have Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, and she has a special guest today, Michael, I'm going to say this wrong, it's Pagel or Pagel maybe? And she's got a really special show planned with him. So definitely hang out for that. And then Raven has 2 guests. She has Mo talking about April Fool's Day hijinks. You guys know you have to hear that show. And another guest, Jody Harvala. So I think the 3 of them are going to put together a really fun show for you guys to cap off the day. So I want to make sure you know there's lots more great live radio to come today. Now, before we go, Caroline, please make sure that everyone knows how to find you.
Well, first of all, I want to say this has been real fun. So thank you so much to everyone who asked questions. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, CA. I've really, really enjoyed it. So you can find me on 12Listen. I'm obviously available for angel readings, psychic readings, but my main work so far has been with the healing work that I do, and that you can also find on 12Listen. So just look on my email-based services, and you will take a look at what I can offer you. And most of what I do is emotional work, like I said. So, you know, in this time of deep fear and uncertainty, I'm pretty sure I can help anyone to really try and weather this storm with grace. So I look forward to speaking to you. Thanks for having me, you guys.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Caroline. And CA, same question.
Yes, thank you. Yes, okay, you can find me on 12Listen. I try to hit as many of those sanctuary hours every day as I can. I'm not always perfect at it, but if you want a specialized reading with me, you can always request a scheduled call, and I would encourage you to do that. Just go to the message system and do that. But the other thing I want to say really quickly, and I'm going to try to squeeze this in, is before we did the show today, I actually pulled 1 card for the entire group for everybody who's listening to this show, whether you're listening live or you listen later, and that was the Sun card. And that is one of the most auspicious, best cards in the entire tarot deck, because it literally does say the sun is going to come out. You know, whatever is going on, this is a time that you are going to be able to look forward. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but it's also an indication, by the way, of getting more sunshine, getting outside, get those rays. And you know, I'm not a doctor, but I know from what I've heard, you know, in the past in my research experiences, ultraviolet light, you know, what comes from the sun actually kills viruses. Now, I can't promise that it's going to kill this one, but I thought it was interesting that the sun card came out. So I would just say, please know that things are going to be okay, and get out and get some exercise and get some sun.
I love it. Absolutely. Amen. I will say that we got a good 2 inches of snow last night. So there's a little staying inside and bitching for me, but you know, it'll go soon.
Well, the sun will come out tomorrow, Katie.
Yeah, it better. Hey, I want to thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you so much, CA and Caroline. Thank you, Scott, for producing. You guys, please stay tuned. So much more great radio to come. You have been listening to the 1-2 Pop-Up Show. We'll be back in about a month. We'll pop up again with another guest. This is a lot of fun. You are listening to us here on 1-2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.